Stand by to launch FanStream Sports.
3, 2, 1. Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it is so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by. Now, here's JP.
All right, happy hump day, everybody. Yeah, it's hump day. We got a great show for you today to get you over the hump. Great Bruce Gradkowski is going to join us here in mere moments right off the top to look back at the Super Bowl and evaluate the Bucs options at quarterback right now. Maybe he's one of them. Also, Greg Auman will join us at 11:45 from The Athletic, and we'll talk some Super Bowl and Bucs options there as well. Plus, they did the Pro Bowl Confidential where they ask all the players confidentially at the Pro Bowls things like who's the best defensive player, most underrated offensive player, coach you want to play for. Really cool stuff. So we'll check in with Greg Auman. Also, Bobby the Chief Taylor, we haven't talked to Chief in a while, will join us after the Lightning's big win last night, comeback win 6-3 over the Devils, where they came out and sleptwalked through the first period. But let's get it going right now with the great Bruce Gradkowski, former Bucs quarterback, who joins us now, analyst at Pro Football Focus. What's up, Bruce? How are you, my friend?
Good morning, brother. I'm doing great. I'm thankful to join the show nice and early to get it kick started. So thanks for having me.
I love it. Bring the energy like you always do. I just watched Get Up this morning on ESPN, and they did about 20 minutes on Brady coming back. So everybody's talking about it. It almost seems like it's definitely going to happen. I mean, you had to call it quits, obviously, and you've dealt with a lot of quarterbacks that have dealt with that decision. Rarely is it your decision, right? Rarely do players leave this league on their own. They're usually kicked out. Right. They're usually injured. Do you think Brady is done?
Oh, man, that's just such a tough question. I mean, I think right now it's too early to speculate what he's going to do. I mean, he just announced it. So, I mean, give the guy until closer to training camp, because right now we're sitting in the middle of February. The Super Bowl is ended. You know, when I was playing, it's like, oh, man, I'm looking forward to this off time. So I think Brady's looking forward to this off time. Give him a few months to get away from it. And I can see him coming back. And because, you know, I think to myself when I retired, it was more so because my body and my shoulder wasn't holding up. I physically couldn't do it anymore as far as throwing the football. But Brady, if he's physically still feeling good, it's hard to walk away when you could still play the game. But on the same sense too, I mean, he is taking his family into consideration, everything like that. So it's just a really fine line, because you don't want to walk away when you really can't do it anymore and you physically look bad. So I think Brady wanted to walk away when he's still feeling good, but you know, he's a competitor. So at the end of the day, though, I wouldn't be surprised if he did come back, but I think right now it's too early to speculate.
All right. So honest question. I have to ask you first and foremost, are the kids in the car or your wife in the car before I ask this question?
No,
okay.
No one,
right,
and you're
cool.
not on speaker either. You know, that's one thing too. When I'm driving and on the phone, I know there's some states you got to be on the speaker phone.
Right.
But I'll even throw in the headset or something, because, you know, you never know what the conversation, where it's going to go if you got kids in the car and the wife, but also too, with the conversation you're having, you know, no reason to let the whole car hear it.
That's right. Exactly.
So yeah.
All right. So here's the question.
I take off speaker.
So how long did it take when you went back home with the wife and the kids till you said, I got to get back to playing football? Because that's where Brady's at right now. He's like 2 weeks in with the kids. And at what point do you go, man, I need to go. I want to go hang out at the facility, changing diapers, or just, you know, being with the kids. It's too much. I got to go back.
You know, that I know. You enjoy it for a few months at least.
Yeah.
But then you do get antsy, and especially, I'll tell you when it really hits is when it's football season. I mean, I felt myself, even for the first few years I was done playing, I'd get irritated on Sundays because I'm watching the games. You know, you're kind of mad you're not a part of it anymore. And then you're watching the games, you're watching how some guys play and whatnot, and how games are unfolding, and you know, and it's just your competitive juices come out, and you miss it. So it's hard. It's hard for anyone. And I didn't have close to the career Brady had, with all the accolades, the Super Bowls and MVPs and all that. So, my point to say that is it doesn't matter who you are.
Right.
When you're out of the game, you miss it. You miss the team. You miss the camaraderie. You miss the locker room. You miss the competitiveness. So, of course, Brady's going to miss it. And once the season starts, he's for sure going to miss it, just knowing the guy he is.
Yeah.
That's when you're going to be starting to get irritated with the family, the wife, the kids. Like, leave me alone. It's Sunday. I should still be playing. You made me retire.
And especially when you come out and you're playing at the top of your game, right? That's the biggest thing, right? I mean, he's playing at an MVP level.
Yeah.
I mean, it's got to be tough.
That's why.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why it's tough, because like I was saying before, like with my injury, it was like easier for me to walk away because I knew, and believe me, I didn't walk away. I had shoulder surgery. I tried to come back. I tore my hamstring in my last preseason game. And once that healed, I was going to try to, make a return. And when the hamstring healed, I started throwing again. And I was like, oh my gosh, my shoulder hurts so bad throwing. I don't think I could even get through a workout for a team right now. And so for me, the writing was on the wall.
Yeah.
Now, Tom Brady, we all saw how he looks physically, how he's been playing the last few years. So he definitely could still do it physically, and that's what's going to be so hard for him to walk away. But it would, man, as a competitor, as a player, it would be nice to be able to walk away when you're still healthy and when you still finish the season pretty good.
Right. Bruce Gradkowski joining us here. All right, so there's a lot of machinations as far as, how many draft picks, who's available, who's not. I'm just asking you for pure fit. Okay, if I throw out these guys at you, I don't think Aaron Rodgers is coming here just because of his salary. But guys that I think could possibly come here: Russell Wilson, Jimmy Garoppolo. I think those are the top two. There's been talk of Teddy Bridgewater because the Bucs liked him when they went after Brady, but maybe his stock has gone down. Of those three guys, who else should we throw in there? Trask, and Gab here. Those guys could be elevated. Of those guys, who you think would be the best fit?
So, of all the guys you mentioned, I mean, Russell Wilson stands out. If you have an opportunity to get Russell Wilson, that's a no-brainer to me.
Yeah.
I think he's different. His athleticism, the way he can move and run and all that, that's different. I would go that route. As you talk about Teddy Bridgewater, Jimmy G, I don't really think that suits you well. I mean, I think you really stay to what you got playing Gabbert, and you let the young guy Trask develop, and let those two compete it out. I don't for the money you're going to spend on a Bridgewater, Garoppolo, those guys. I don't think it's worth it.
Yeah.
If anything, and maybe BA could get Big Ben to come out of retirement, go down to Tampa for a few years.
No, thank you. Come on, he's beat up.
But,
he's beat up.
Just as you mentioned, I mean, Russell Wilson, he's a difference maker. If you have an opportunity to get him, I'm intrigued by that. Other than that, I don't think you make any splash moves at the quarterback position, because also you keep the door open for Brady.
Yes.
If you even think there's an inkling he could come back. Now, you don't want to put your plans on hold and press pause, but I feel like you have enough in your locker room as far as the quarterback position with Trask and Blaine Gabbert that you don't have to go sign a big high price free agent or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Stay with what you got, and then maybe that does keep the door open for Brady to make a return.
Interesting. What about Jameis Winston? I mean, obviously he played differently under Sean Payton. Sean Payton guarded him tremendously. You judged all his tape, but the numbers were good. I mean, he's 14 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, I think, at that point when he got hurt. And, he was off to a good start against the Bucs in that game. What do you think about Jameis? Do you think that the LASIK, the knee injury that was healed, learning under Sean Payton, learning behind Drew Brees, you think he's a different guy? Is that – now, I don't know if the Jameis camp even wants to come back here and play, but that being said, how with this team, how do you think he would fit?
Well, it's tough. Like for Jameis Winston as a quarterback, I do think he's continuing to develop. If I'm another team, I think I look into him because of just his ceiling. I mean, he's a guy that can make every throw you want. He can make the big plays, and then you have to limit his turnovers and the kind of questionable decisions. But as a return for Tampa, that's just tough, because if I'm thinking of Jameis Winston and I'm in his shoes, I mean, realistically, you have to win a Super Bowl to even feel like you did something well in Tampa, just for the bar that has been raised there since Brady has left. So I just think it would be very tough for him to come back. It's just I don't see that happening.
Yeah,
but at the end of the day, too, if you're a quarterback, you want to sign with the team. You have familiarity with the coach, the offense. I mean, that's what makes it a smooth signing. So you never say never, but I just think that would be unlikely, and it'd be a hard thing for him to follow up for what Tampa's done the last few years. Yeah,
for anyone other than maybe Russell Wilson. All right, the Super Bowl, interesting quarterback matchup. How do you think it played out? And I specifically, let's start with Matthew Stafford on that last drive. You know, OBJ goes down. I mean, put yourself in his shoes. Obviously, he's throwing to other guys who are tipping the ball up in the air and getting intercepted. I mean, Cooper Kupp's your guy. He literally says, I don't care how many guys are on him. I'm throwing to Cooper Kupp. And you got to talk about that no-look throw that he makes in the middle of that drive. I mean, are you freaking kidding me? Talk about that last drive and Matthew Stafford, how he played.
No, absolutely. I mean, it's making key plays and key moments. You know, big time players stepping up when you need to, and I'm glad the Rams went that route and started down Cooper Kupp's number. I mean, everyone's talking about OBJ and oh my gosh, he's missing. What the heck did Kupp do for you all year? You know, target that guy, and they did start doing that, and just that no looker. I mean, it was unbelievable, right? It just shows that Stafford has a feel for the game, because what happens is you have like a little hitch, a spot route about 5 yards, and then you have a 12-yard in route behind it. And you put that DB in a position, linebacker, DB type guy, in a position that has to make a decision, because he sees the spot route in front of him. He's going to jump that route, which allows you to throw the in route behind it. And Stafford did a great job with his eyes looking at that spot out. And if Stafford looks back to the in route, that defender might fall off and tip it. So it's like basketball. It's like being a point guard. And I say it all the time. You know, I love quarterbacks that I know that they have a background in playing hoops, because you could see the field. You're a guy that's got to be able to attack the hoop, dish the ball. And that's what Stafford did right there. He's eyeing the spot route. He keeps his eyes there, and boom, he just feels his guys cutting to the middle of the paint, and he delivers a no-look pass. I mean, it's exactly what happens in hoops. So I thought it was pretty phenomenal.
How hard is it to make that throw? I mean, we see Mahomes do it like a 4 or 5 yarder, or maybe 10 yarder, but to that throw over the middle of the field with that accuracy, you got to rip that throw. How hard is it, just from a technical standpoint, to be looking one way with your head and then deliver that ball another way on a line 25 yards down the field?
Yeah, I mean, it's spectacular. Yeah. I mean, just because of the velocity in which that ball came out of his hands and the accuracy. I mean, you're talking about he wasn't looking, and he hit the receiver right in stride to keep him going. It wasn't like he threw it just right on his body or slowed him down. I mean, it was pinpoint accurate. That's what was probably most impressive about that. And it was just a great play. And that honestly, that's what happens in these games, especially through the playoffs. You need to make big time plays. Things aren't always going to be perfect, but you got to find a way to make it happen. And Stafford did that on that drive. And on the last drive, he got away. I'm telling you what, he got fortunate. They got a few calls.
Yeah.
Because he missed a crossing around the back of the end zone. That I was like, oh man, he was wide open. But fortunately, they got a penalty. I mean, and it worked both ways. I mean, I think since he got away with a holding one,
the big ball to Higgins, that was where he pulls Jalen Ramsey's face mask.
Yeah, right.
Hey, what about Burrow? What about Burrow? Burrow under pressure. I mean, my God, that offensive line was awful. 82% win rate for the Rams in pass rush, the biggest one of the year, and somehow Burrow kept them in the game. I mean, that's That's malpractice what they did to him. They didn't max protect him at all. They just left him out there to that was awful.
Well, and that's what's hard to do, though. I mean, I think the Rams have had some good things dialed up, but if you max protect and the Rams only rush 4, now you only have a few guys out on a route. It just makes it tough. And so that's the dynamic when you're competing against the Rams is if you keep more guys in to help double team Aaron Donald and the other guys and pick up blitzes and have better protection because you have more double teams. Well, now you leave less guys out on routes and less options for Joe Burrow. So it's just a give and take. I mean, honestly, I felt like, yes, the protection was poor. That kind of hurt him in the second half and whatnot. But, I mean, honestly, you're still driving with a chance to tie the ball game up.
Yeah.
With everything that's happened in the past. And I wasn't impressed with the calls on 3rd and 1 and 4th and 1.
Terrible.
I mean, so we could talk about the pass protection, but come on now. I mean, it's 3rd and 1 and you hand it off right to where Aaron Donald's playing.
With your second best running back.
So, what's that?
With your second best running back. Where the hell's Joe Mixon?
So I get it because it's a 2-minute situation. You feel like you could be just pop it, get a first down real quick, now keep the drive moving. But at the end of the day, you got to get yards too. Yes, first downs are important, but you got to get down the field and get in field goal range as well. And then they just call flat slants on that 4th and 1. And sometimes it's just tough. When you're calling pass plays just at the sticks, defenders are going to sit. They know where the yard markers are.
Yep.
And it's tough because, if you throw a fade or go there, people are going to question, I'll just get the first. But, hey, that's when you put the nail in the coffin. Just think of Burrow throwing a fade route to Jamar Chase or T. Higgins in that point and closing out the game. I mean, so you couldn't have gotten a better matchup or look to try to take advantage of that. And it's just, it was frustrating in that sense. But I just look at Joe Burrow and the Bengals and what they have done this year has been unbelievable. So you just got to give them a ton of credit and ton of credit for Burrow being the leader he is and elevating the guys around him.
You're the awesome quarterback and analyst of the year, my friend. I appreciate you coming on all year long, wrapping it up here with the Super Bowl. We'll see what Brady does, and if he makes a move, we'll give you a call and let you break it down, man. Thanks for all your time this year and taking time away from your family, your boys, and all that. We really appreciate it. Thanks, Bruce.
Oh, heck yeah, brother. Have a good week, my man. I appreciate you guys having me on.
All right, thanks. The great Bruce Gradkowski right there. Yeah, I mean, Burrow in this offense. I mean, they obviously in this. By the way, just extended Zach Taylor, their head coach. I mean, obviously they've got to shore up that offensive line, and their defense, I think, is highly underrated. With adding Hendrickson and Hilton and the guys that they added, I mean, they're primed to make a run. Now we're going to find out today what's wrong with Joe Burrow. He may have another torn ACL. Who knows?
It actually came out while you were doing it with Bruce, just sprained MCL.
Sprained MCL.
Yeah, so he escaped a serious thing there.
Yeah, but I mean, is that the same knee or?
I believe it's the same knee. Yeah.
I mean, once you start building up surgeries in one knee and blah, 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 you're talking about scar tissue. And I mean, my God, they have got to save this guy's career. And, it's kind of sad to watch, but they have an opportunity this offseason. I think if you're an offensive lineman, that's not a bad place to go play football.
It's not, but I mean, like we said, you never know if you're going to get back to the Super Bowl. And everybody's trying to say, "Oh, he's going to go to this many Super Bowls."
Yeah.
Dan Marino, did you see his tweet? I think it was yesterday, the day before.
No.
He's like, "Don't worry, Joe." He's like, "I just like you. I made the Super Bowl in my second season. You got plenty of years not to go back again."
It's so true, though.
True.
It's so hard to do. I mean, Brady just is a complete outlier, obviously. But for everybody else, it's hard. It's hard to get back time and time again. And I mean, for the greatest of the great, how many did Peyton play in? Peyton played in.
He played in 3.
Played in 3.
Yeah.
1-2. 1-1. Had one given to him and then lost.
And the way we speak about him, it's like he underachieved almost, right?
Yeah. But Elway went to 4.
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you go back and look at the greatest quarterbacks that have ever played, and it's so much about your team around you. I mean, we talk so much about quarterbacks, and quarterbacks, obviously, the great ones elevate the teams. I mean, I say this every year. I think there's probably, you go into a season where there's 6 to 10 teams that could make it to the Super Bowl. And I wouldn't have put Cincinnati in that category at the beginning of the season, quite frankly. But, injuries are probably the biggest factor between those 10 teams. And then I'd say quarterback is the next, like to elevate you, to get you to the next level. Those last 2 minutes, who's going to make those plays? Because most of the games come down to the last 2 minutes. What quarterback is going to make those plays in those situations? And when you look at Brady's career, that's what it was all about. It was all about him being great in the last parts of these games, in those 2-minute offenses. And yes, their offense did bail them out a couple times, big time. And their defense in postseason, but mostly it's about the 2-minute drill. It's about being able to go. Look at this game. Matthew Stafford was able to go down and it was a 6-minute drive, but he made the plays at the end of the game to win the game. Burrow had a chance, 2 timeouts, 1:25 left to field goal ties it, touchdown wins it. He wasn't able to get it done.
Regardless of how I feel about the play at the end that we talked about, the flag that I was very angry about.
Yeah.
Okay, I get that. You can't deny the last 2 games that Stafford played, the NFC Championship and the Super Bowl. If you're going to, forget 2-minute drill. He ran like the 7-minute drill. That's just
as good.
Master class on a master class on how to milk away clock and just take it down there. You don't have to get it all at once, which a lot of quarterbacks, probably younger quarterbacks, try to do, right? They try to get it back all at once. And that's a clinic. Yeah. It's the stuff you kind of teach that he did. And like I said, he wasn't great all game, but in those moments, there's not many better.
And I would put, after maybe injuries and quarterbacking, third would be coaching. Okay. Look at 4th and 1. What does McVay run? A jet sweep to Cooper Kupp that he hasn't run in 3 months.
Yeah.
And they execute it to perfection. 3rd and 1. What does Zach Taylor call and got his extension? ISO run at Aaron Donald, who's one-on-one with the guy who hasn't blocked him all day, with your second best back. Okay. 4th and 1. 4th and 18 inches, really. Don't even think about running it. Single up Aaron Donald for a pass play, and Burrow drops back. Yeah, so coaching as well.
By the way, on that play, Samaje Perine, he wanted to just, lunge a little forward.
What are you doing,
maybe
man?
go with a little dive. I've watched that play over and over and over yesterday. And I'm like, was there a chance he could have completed that pass? You're damn right there was.
Oh, yeah.
He just
the 4th down play
play.
He really didn't dive for it.
He just kind of took a step at it. I'm like, oh my.
And did you see Burrow when he got up? He looked up and he looked at him like, dude, what are you doing?
I know it was so like anti-climatic almost how it ended, right? Because he just let it hit the ground. And I'm just
Burrow got the ball off and got it in the air towards him, and the ball landed like a yard from him, and he didn't even dive for it.
We haven't talked about that enough. How that was almost the greatest no-look pass I've ever seen. It really was.
So in the last 2 plays, obviously the play wasn't called to Perine, on 4th down, but so Samaje Perine ends up being the guy, your go-to guy on 3rd and 4th down.
Yeah.
Yikes. Where the hell's Joe Mixon? I know Perine's a better, quote, pass blocker, but on 3rd and 1, you got a 2-way go. And on 4th and 1, you got a 2-way go.
Yeah, I don't recall Zach Taylor answering that question after.
No.
Where was Joe Mixon? And even on that play, too, the 4th down, I don't know if you saw this.
First of all, on 3rd and 1, there's no doubt as good as Aaron Donald is, there ain't no way he's stopping Joe Mixon with one arm.
Probably not.
No effing
Joe
way.
at least is making some kind of attempt at a move.
Yeah,
Something.
and Perine was close to that. All he had to do was reach out the ball, for God's sakes. Didn't even have the wherewithal to do that. And to be stopped by guys, look, I get it. Aaron Donald's Superman. I get it. He's got you're a 200-pound back with a full head of steam, and you get stopped by a guy and pulled back by one arm, not a shoulder. Not button you up, but you get pulled back by one arm, and that's to win the Super Bowl. That's why Perine shouldn't be in the game.
He probably
situational. You can't have that.
No, and on the 4th down too. I don't know if you saw, but Jamar Chase actually had gotten by Jalen Ramsey. Jalen Ramsey fell down on that play.
I didn't see that
before Donald got through. Jalen Ramsey
in 0.7 seconds.
Yeah, that quick. Jalen Ramsey had fallen down, and Jamar Chase was running by himself down the sideline.
So you're saying if that left guard would have just gotten in the way of Aaron Donald, swat it away.
Maybe a second and a half longer, maybe.
Just push him out, leave him a little to the wall.
Just a little bit.
Just do something.
Besides
something besides getting your hands whacked away and him running by you.
Yes. Anything.
But like go down, put your body across him, make him go through you.
Yeah.
I mean, but situational. I mean, you got to be able to make plays in those situations, and they weren't able to do it. It's crazy how it comes down to that sometimes. All right, let's go ahead and take a break. When we come back, we're going to get into the Lightning last night. Fun game last night. Well, not the first period. The first period was sleepwalking again through the first period, but then the old I guess Cooper got on the old bat phone or whatever the hell he's got, put the bat light out, flipped the switch, and out came the Stanley Cup champs. Fun to watch. We'll talk some Lightning when we come back. Hey, folks, let me tell you about Bay Area Modern Medical Center, a very different approach to primary care, personalized preventative medicine, not a one-pill-fits-all mentality. Christopher Lugo and his experienced medical staff are proactive in looking at issues before they become a problem, encouraging a healthy lifestyle with proper diet, supplements, and exercise to optimize your active lifestyle. Rather than the impersonal rushed approach, you will be the only patient and will have our full attention. That's new. Getting old is inevitable, but feeling and looking old is avoidable. Bay Area Modern Medical Centers are experts in anti-aging regenerative medicine that optimizes your body's performance in many areas. So call for an appointment to get started on a journey back to full health and a happy life with a new, modern way of healthcare. Call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. That's 844-977-3477 or BAMMC.com. JP here for my friend, attorney Christopher Palermo. If you are having issues with a claim on your homeowner's insurance from a sinkhole, storm damage, water intrusion, defective stucco, and construction defects, or any other issue, Christopher is your man. These big insurance companies didn't get rich paying out what you deserve. Chris founded his practice in 2009 with a passion to help all Floridians with disputes where they were forced to take on the powerful and needed a champion in their corner. Chris wants to make sure you will receive the most aggressive and compassionate representations. He has recovered millions in settlements on behalf of his clients facing defective stucco damage and other construction issues. So call Chris, mention the JP Show, and he will give you a free consultation. That's 813-221-5636, or go to PalermoPA.com. He's a fifth-generation Tampanian graduate of Jesuit High School and the University of Florida, and he cares deeply about you and the community. That's 221-5636 or PalermoPA.com. Homeowners, listen up. Property values have risen in the Tampa Bay area to record levels, some up to 24% in 1 year. It's time to refinance your home and pull out the equity before rates go through the roof. Call my man Scott Fitzgerald at 813-294-7595 or email him at scott@amstampa.com. Scott believes interest rates will be over 5 very soon due to the volatile economy and inflation, but you can still lock in the mid-3s, but not for long. This means you can save tens of thousands of dollars over the life of your loan. Now, Scott is an independent broker, so he can shop your mortgage around for the best rates, and he will pay for your appraisal if you mention you heard it here on the JP Show. That's a $500 to $700 value. Scott does not charge the huge upfront fees like the big banks do. In this uncertain economy and political climate, better to have cash in hand now. So call Scott at 813-294-7595 or email him at scott@amstampa.com. The PGA Tour's Valspar Championship is back in March in 2022, March 14th through the 20th, right in the middle of the best weather of the year and the last stop on the Florida swing. The Valspar has become one of the must-do events on the Tampa Bay sports and social calendar, so get your best tickets before they sell out. The game's biggest stars love the Copperhead course at Innisbrook. Last year, we saw Dustin Johnson, Justin Thomas, Jordan Spieth. Wow, the crowds, and another star-studded field is expected again this year. Sam Burns took the title and will defend again at the Copperhead. This will be a full tournament with the return of Valspar Live, our free Saturday concert featuring Chris Young and Big and Rich, and other amenities including Chameleon Cove, the Hooters Owl's Nest, the Publix Chill Lounge, and other hospitality venues. Go to ValsparChampionship.com for tickets. The best premium hospitality areas will sell out, so don't wait. That's ValsparChampionship.com. Are you selling your home or refinancing? JP here for Greenleaf Title. You choose the title company, not the realtor, and it makes a difference. You want a reputable company that will make sure your title is safe and secure. There are a lot of scammers out there right now. So go with a trusted company like Greenleaf Title. Plus, they will close anywhere, folks, and they will send a limo to pick you up to come to the closing. Yep, the great JP Limo Closing is back. All you got to do is give them a call at 727-258-6005 or go to greenleaftitle.com. We'll set up the limo for you. They'll come pick you up. Heck, we even picked up one couple, took them to Black Rock Restaurant, one of our favorite advertisers, and then to the closing. That's how they do it at Greenleaf Title. Great service. We'll close anywhere. The lowest fees in the business. 727-258-6005 or go to greenleaftitle.com. That's greenleaftitle.com.
Coming back at you. Now, more with JP on FanStream Sports. It's only just begun.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, presented by the law offices of Chris Palermo. If you have any issues with sinkhole damage, storm damage, water intrusion, or any issues with your homeowner's insurance company, give Chris a call, and you can reach him at PalermoPA.com. He will help you out. He's recovered millions for his clients. He is an expert in the field, any type of real estate law. Christopher Palermo will help you out. Go to Palermo PA and get the information there. Check out his bio, all the stuff they do over there, and he'll help you out. All right. Let's get into the Lightning here. Big win last night, 6-3. Kind of a weird schedule going on. We'll hear Cooper talk about that in a little bit. So they've been, they've had these long layoffs, 5 days, 6 days, and last night's first period was just awful. They looked terrible. They were slow. I mean, it was like one turnover after another. I mean, I felt bad for Vasilevsky. It was like he was like a shooting gallery early on, and he wasn't. A couple of those maybe he could have had, but man, it was just one turnover after another. It's so hard to make saves when it's just the flow of the game changes so quickly like that.
I actually don't know how you made it through the whole first period, because the first 10 minutes we had, I think, 0 shots on goal.
It's awful.
And then we finally got our first shots of the game from each team, and they both win.
Yeah. It was weird, but in the second period, Cooper was absolutely frustrated and pissed off, so he jumbled all the lines except for the school bus line. Put Stamkos up with Braden Point and Kucherov. Killorn moved from the second line and then went to skate with Cirelli and Taylor Radish. And Palat played with Ross Colton and Matthew Joseph. And boy, that seemed to spark the team, and it got going with a couple of goals 41 seconds apart. The first from Steven Stamkos.
Garuda into the slot. Here's Stamkos. Scores!
Oh.
Steven Stamkos takes the top corner. And he gets the Lightning back within one.
Has he got those corners pegged right now? The 2 goals that he scored in Arizona on the rush last game were absolutely brilliant. This is no less brilliant, except this time he's virtually standing still. So look at him find the soft area. How long does it take him to get loaded and ready? It's not the big slapper for Stammer. This is he gets it right in the toe of that stick, and you see his head up is right away. Great feel. Stammer's in the zone. Look at that. He got it, looked up immediately, moving screen in front. He takes advantage. Gillies, the goaltender, goes, I never saw that one. But you know what? Even if he did, would have had to make a heck of a save.
Yeah, he wasn't going to get that one anyway. The next one came from Killorn, who was parked out front, and Sergachev, really good job getting the puck through, and a quick release from him from the point, and Killorn with a brilliant tip in here.
Sergachev with the drive, scores! Mikhail Sergachev with the shot. May have been tipped in front, but we've got ourselves a tie game.
Looks like it's going to be Alex Killorn. That was a moving screen in front. Sergachev keeping the puck low. That had a lot to do with it. Cirelli also in front had a huge part. Cirelli got knocked down by Subban, but watch him get back into position right here. That makes a gigantic difference. And there's, from the left side, here comes Killorn. So Cirelli had taken the eyes of the goaltender away. You got a really good look at what Gillies, the goaltender, could see. It was nothing. He was up on his toes. Look at him. He's looking up. I got to look up and over. And Gillies is a big goaltender. But by the time he gets down, it's too late. And you know what? I don't think it doesn't matter what size he was. That was right inside the post on a deflection. And the Lightning are back in.
Yeah, that was another great tip in by Killorn and a great shot by Sergachev. That tied it up at 3. They go to the third period, and this was in the midst of 5 straight goals against the Devils. Victor Hedman, who had a horrible turnover early on in the game that led to a goal, comes back and gets one of his own to kind of even things up.
The net banks it back to Hedman. Scores!
Wow.
Victor Hedman absolutely rips one.
98.6 miles per hour.
Take the lead.
That is an exact repeat of the one that hit the goalpost. And the screen in front of the net completes it. But winning the faceoff, getting the control, Corey Perry around the back of the net, and then watch the screen set up by Maroon in front. Right is Hedman. Nice job by Perry. But it's a combination of the defender and Pat Maroon in the goaltender's face. Look at that. That's a great look. The goaltender is fighting for position, trying to get himself in balance. I think he does see this one coming at the last second. I'm not sure he was in good balance because he might have even had contact from his own defenseman, Graves. But that was the perfect shot by Victor Hedman.
98.6 for the man with the hardest shot in the league from the All-Star game. What a blast. Right off the post. No chance. Last night, Gillies gave up 6 goals. No, I think he got replaced, but he gave up, and he had no chance on any. He made a lot of great saves last night.
Yeah, he did.
He's got to be going, geez, Jiminy Christmas. How the hell, I mean, he ain't getting that one. He wasn't getting the one from Killorn. He wasn't getting the one from Stammer. I mean, those were freaking unbelievable shots.
Yeah, the one from Stammer, man. I mean, just sitting stationary right there, just above the slot. I mean, we've been talking a lot about him this year and kind of him being like revitalized, so to speak. I don't think he's been this locked in from a goal scoring standpoint since pre the first injury.
Yeah.
Like, I'm serious. Like, he is
his shot
corners
is spot
right
on.
now.
Oh, he was playing that 21 game at the All-Star game. That was unbelievable. Just hitting those cards, man. It's just his accuracy with his shot. And Hedman too. I mean, obviously some of this, I never played the game, and certainly not at a professional level, but I've watched a lot of hockey, and I mean, these guys, you would think that, okay, he hit the post. Was he aiming for the post? Yeah, he was. I mean, that's how good these guys are. And the Hedman's kind of sliding backwards, the puck's coming to him, and he one-times that from the point at 98.6 miles per hour, hitting the post. I mean, Jiminy Christmas. Good luck with that.
Yeah, barely got off the ice. That thing was just moving, man.
A freaking laser. Wow. All right. After that, it was another great play by Kucherov. This was fantastic. I don't know if we have the whole call of this because he gave the puck away and then gets a great pass from, I think it might have been Sergachev, but let's hear the call from Bally Sports Sun.
Kucherov in, shoots, scores! Nikita Kucherov makes no mistake with that one and makes it 5-3 Tampa Bay.
It's nearly a disaster started by Kucherov with a turnover in the offensive zone. He has to back check like crazy. The Lightning get the puck, and New Jersey makes a line change with both defensemen. That's why Kucherov is able to turn around, see nobody there. Once the turnover happens, Brayden Point just gives him the alley-oop pass. And Kucherov, who has not had a fun night, has been frustrated with himself and it seems everybody else. But when push comes to shove and he gets a scoring chance like that, he doesn't miss very often.
He needed that one. It was a tough night for him, as Brian Engblom said there, and Dave Rayburn on the call, Bally Sports Sun. Great stuff right there.
Yeah, I wish that I know that it was an away game, so there was no Phil on the call last night in the radio. Right. But I was only imagining, and I think it was maybe in the second period. If you remember, Kucherov made 2 really good moves from the top of the blue line.
Yeah.
Got right into the slot. There's nothing there. There's nobody on the sides to pass to. And he's like, all right, little backhander pass here to left. And it went straight to the boards. Do you remember that play?
I do not.
I mean, he literally was about 5-7 feet.
Did he think
front.
Somebody was there? Obviously.
You know how Cooch does. He's always looking to make that crazy pass. But I'm like, man, I can imagine Phil on the radio if he had seen that.
Oh, my gosh. Shoot the puck. What are you doing? Yeah, but he gave bad turnover, but then he hustles back and then, peels back and the point gives him the pass. And
I can't give Gillies a pass there. I don't know how that puck went in.
Got to get that one. So we don't have the last one where Corey Perry almost got his 400th goal and Belmar knocked it in.
I feel like that's like the third time in the past like 3 games where he's been like super close.
That was ridiculous. Yeah. That one got through Gillies and it's just like creeping towards the line, just a little bit. And then Belmar knocks it in.
Yeah, coach is like, all right, get out.
Yeah, get out. You're done. A guy that played pretty damn well gets pulled, and the Lightning get a 6-3 win. I hope we have this from the beginning of Cooper. If this particular one, because at the beginning they may have cut it off on this edit, because in the beginning, the one I sent you has this conversation with our friend Leo Haggerty. You know how we're always having trouble with Leo, like he gets on the phone and he's like moving. Trying to talk on the phone while he's moving his apartment or a house or whatever.
I can play that one. He's getting a
pizza. Do you have it?
I can play that one.
Oh yeah, I was looking forward to this.
I'll cue that one.
Yeah, cue that one up because
I think they cut it off.
We love Leo dearly, but he gets on a Zoom call and Cooper's always giving him crap because he's like, what are you doing, man? Like we're on a Zoom call, you're asking me a question, like you're coming on my radio show. Stop loading your car with your groceries, okay? You just get on the phone. Put the phone to your mouth and talk. So I guess Leo last night was at a restaurant and, he gets on these Zoom calls wherever he is. Like, it does not matter. Like he's not going to miss the Zoom call. If he's out on, on a date with the wife or whatever, Leo's getting on the Zoom call. And, last night Cooper was like, okay, Leo, where are you? And you can hear him in the background.
Did he actually say that?
Yes, you can hear him in the background. He's like chewing his.
Hold up. I know
Leo's going to kill me for this.
I know I'm thinking a little bit, but I'm definitely queuing this up.
He's going to kill me with this but we love him. He's funny. He's hilarious. And, he's always on the calls and he does a hell of a job. And Cooper loves it too. So we want to hear this. We're trying to get the password in there. You got this handle? I mean, I'm stretching, bro. You want me? Don't make me go to the Kyler Murray story.
I'm getting there.
All right. Okay, here we go. From the beginning. You got to go now. Go up like past Kalorn. We got to listen to Kalorn too. He was pretty good last night. And after Belmar, and then right from the beginning of John Cooper as we produce on the air here. Okay, here we go. There we go.
1 second.
And I've had to fill so much. I've oversold it, so it's not even going to be that funny. You've ruined the whole bit.
I'll still be
completely fired.
I'll still be entertained.
Here we go.
Is Leo on?
Leo is on. Yes.
Leo's.
Yes,
Leo.
I am, Coach.
Leo, where are you on your couch?
No, Coach, I'm sitting in a restaurant having dinner after watching the game.
Okay, well, for that, that caught me off
Coach,
guard.
I did.
So
I kind of. Coach,
chew your food. Chew your food. Do not speak with your mouth full, and then you can ask your question.
Okay, I'm off.
He's chewing his
Shoot
food.
out. Thanks, Coach.
It doesn't sound like it.
It doesn't sound like it.
90% of the time, your goaltender's going to keep you to 3 goals.
We love Leo. Come on, play it back. Play it. Can you listen to him in the background? He's still chewing his food. I'm glad it's just not me. He does it to. He does it to. He's equal opportunity offender. He does it to Cooper on the Zoom call. You got. I'd say this is when you are a badass when you can do stuff like this. You just like, yeah, I'm ready now, Coach. I'm ready for my interview with you.
Is Leo on?
Leo is on. Yes.
Yes,
Leo.
I am, Coach.
Leo, where are you on your couch?
No, Coach, I'm sitting in a restaurant having dinner after watching the game.
Enjoying a little chicken tetrazzini, obviously.
Okay, well, for that, that caught me off
Coach,
guard.
I did.
So
I kind of. Coach,
chew your food. Chew your food. Do not speak with your mouth full, and then you can ask your question.
okay, I'm off. Shoot out.
It doesn't sound like it.
It doesn't sound like it.
Coach, 90% of the time,
Oh, crying.
your goaltender's going to keep you to 3 goals or less. Is that the magic number to get to 3, knowing that'll get you probably a point 90 to 95% of the night?
I don't know the statistics on that. I just know that if you want to have a chance to win in this league, you got to keep them to 2 or under. So 3 is, I always have to play with fire when you give up 3. It's a hard league to score in. And it's, we had to, we kind of caught fire there at the end of the second, start of the third. But I don't like giving up more than 2. I don't like giving up any, but you start giving up more than 2, the game can be in the balance. But boys found the way tonight, and Vassy shut the door after that third one, which was big.
He really did. They played way better.
Alex said, just for the guys on this team that have played so many games over the last 2+ seasons with regular season and playoffs, to have a longer break again is like, there's no problem. It's like they will not say that any break is too short. Do you agree with that?
To be honest, I don't like our break. I don't like what's happened here. I thought the guys, if they were gonna, the league was gonna pull out of the Olympics, I thought our guys deserved, the full time off, and to have some of these games that whether we could have played them or not, and right smack in the middle. I don't know. It's kind of tough. Would have liked to just been able to play them right after, or throw them at the end and give the guys a legitimate break. So I think I got to give the guys credit. We got 4 of the 6 points, and we're a whisker away from maybe getting one in Colorado. So we'll take that, but I feel for the guys a little bit because a break is give the guys 10 days, 12 days off, not 5 here and 6 here, whatever it is. So anyway, we got through it, and now we're gonna have to come back in a few days here with time off, and play an Edmonton team that's kind of they'll been able to continue to play. So we're gonna have to find a way to kick it into gear here in a week.
Joe Smith.
When things aren't going the way you like on the ice, or maybe you're switching some lines up to get a spark, but you keep obviously the Belmar line together, how much can they help you kind of recenter and get back your identity as a team when you have a line like that can kind of do what you want you guys to do?
Yeah, well, they're 3 vets, right? They've been in this league. They know how to navigate their way around. They're pretty, and let's be honest, we had a dreadful first period. But Patty gets us that first one, and I thought they were, guys that knew we weren't playing that well and kept their game simple, and I think we all followed suit. So it was good on them.
Eric Erlinson.
And John, with the line change, you've been pretty consistent the last couple of years in not making the changes, but the last couple of games you have, has that been game response, or has that been also, as you mentioned the other day, maybe trying to feel some things around because it's the first time you've had fully healthy forwards in a while?
Yeah. Again, this is like we're out of rhythm. Even this, we have a break, we come out, we play back to back, and then we have another 3 days off. It's been kind of just a different kind of beat for us here the last week and a half. So we're coaching to win hockey games, and to be able to put guys in situations, yes, but we're not sitting here in game 49 or whatever it is and saying, okay, well, let's get this, let's see what we're doing here. No, we're trying to continue to get points that make sure we're making the playoffs. And sometimes, guys, we need to move things around a little bit. And so anyway, we've done that. Hopefully it's not an everyday thing, but give us a boost tonight, and we'll take it. And like I said, it's nice that when you do, it does give the guys a little spark.
John Cooper from last night. He was right. It was a dreadful first period, but they came back. It is good that the Lightning are getting all this rest. Killorn talked about that as well. We'll play that a little bit later on in the show. But it's kind of weird how they can play so differently. And they, and most coaches, give Cooper credit here on this. They, I queue up the Killorn stuff because he talked about the line switches. I think it's kind of interesting. We'll do it right now. A lot of coaches don't do this. They won't do this. But Cooper's been very a liberal with the way when things aren't going right, he's going to mix things up. And of course, he has the luxury of guys like when he moves Stamkos to Kucherov's line, it's not like they've never played before. These guys all know each other, and it just gives them a little fresh feel. And whatever was stale is no longer stale. So let's hear Killorn talk about the line switches that Cooper made last night. Better hear the players talk about it anyway. A better perspective. And Leo's not chewing his food during these interviews, unfortunately.
It's the highlight of my day.
Wasn't it, though? He kept chewing his food.
Hey, Alex, another kind of slow start. Do you kind of chalk that up to the choppy schedule here, or is there something else that has you concerned?
I'm not sure, but I think partly it's due to the schedule. I think when you look at when we went to Colorado, we had a terrible first period, kind of similar to play tonight. So I think with these 6 days, we got to do something a little different to make sure we're better prepared for Edmonton.
Eric, do you have a follow-up?
Yeah, along those lines, Coop changes the lines up to start the second period there. When that happens, does that kind of get your attention a little bit, or what kind of goes through the player's head when that happens?
I think so. I mean, we've been a team that has done pretty well this year, and there's definitely chemistry in the lines. And then when you see your coach changing the lines, it's maybe a little bit of a wake-up call. And sometimes it's just nice to get some different looks. And as we saw tonight, we scored pretty quickly once those lines got changed. So it was nice. I don't know. They might stay the same. Who knows?
Alex Killorn there. Well, that's kind of interesting to hear the players talk about. They really don't care. They just kind of feel like, especially with this group, that they have enough chemistry with anybody. So when Cooper does it, it does wake him up a little bit. It certainly did last night. That was definitely the point where this team took off last night. No doubt about it. All right. You got an interesting report here. Watson eyeing the Bucs. Deshaun Watson to the Buccaneers. This is definitely picking up steam. Yesterday I said I don't think the Bucs would ever consider it, with Darcy Glazer-Kasowitz being one of their owners, and how the Bucs have definitely prioritized women in football. And they do a lot to bring women into the Bucs. They do their Women in Red, which has been oddly criticized in my opinion, to bring women into the tent of the NFL. Obviously hiring two full-time coaches. So it seems to me that would be an odd fit, but maybe if these things get cleaned up from a football standpoint, it's kind of obviously he would be a great fit here. There's no question about it. The guy's supremely talented. So we'll take a quick break. We'll come back and talk about that report. A couple other things kicking around the NFL as well. And some thoughts on the Olympics. We haven't talked about it a lot for a lot of different reasons, but I think now we've got a clearer picture of what's going on over in China, even though you're not allowed to speak ill of the Chinese or what's happening. But it's been a disaster of an Olympics for the Americans and the entire event. We'll talk about it next. The PGA Tour's Valspar Championship is back in March in 2022, March 14th through the 20th, right in the middle of the best weather of the year and the last stop on the Florida swing. The Valspar has become one of the must-do events on the Tampa Bay sports and social calendar, so get your best tickets before they sell out. The game's biggest stars love the Copperhead course at Innisbrook. Last year, we saw Dustin Johnson, Justin Thomas, Jordan Spieth wow the crowds, and another star-studded field is expected again this year. Sam Burns took the title and will defend again at the Copperhead. This will be a full tournament with the return of Valspar Live, our free Saturday concert featuring Chris Young and Big and Rich, and other amenities including Chameleon Cove, the Hooters Owl's Nest, the Publix Chill Lounge, and other hospitality venues. Go to ValsparChampionship.com for tickets. The best premium hospitality areas will sell out, so don't wait. That's ValsparChampionship.com.
Are you selling your home or refinancing? JP here for Greenleaf Title. You choose the title company, not the realtor, and it makes a difference. You want a reputable company that will make sure your title is safe and secure. There are a lot of scammers out there right now, so go with a trusted company like Greenleaf Title. Plus, they will close anywhere, folks, and they will send a limo to pick you up to come to the closing. Yep, the great JP Limo Closing is back. All you got to do is give them a call at 727-258-6005 or go to greenleaftitle.com. We'll set up the limo for you. They'll come pick you up. Heck, we even picked up one couple, took them to Black Rock Restaurant, one of our favorite advertisers, and then to the closing. That's how they do it at Greenleaf Title. Great service. Will close anywhere. The lowest fees in the business. 727-258-6005. Go to greenleaftitle.com. That's greenleaftitle.com. Getting old is inevitable, but feeling and looking old is avoidable. If you're feeling run down, your workout sucks, or your sexual libido is not what it used to be, check out Bay Area Modern Medical Center. That happened to me a few years ago, and I found out I had the testosterone level of a second-grade girl. That's not good. Our food, environment, and stress can cause your T levels to drop. Bay Area Modern Medical Center can help, and they are different. They offer customized hormone replacement for both men and women. Christopher Lugo and his medical staff can help you restore your energy, your sex drive, and your feelings of well-being. It was a total game changer for me. I have way more energy, lost 30 pounds, and I'm performing better in all areas of my life. Nobody wants to talk about sexual health, but it's key to a balanced life. We offer discreet treatments with real-world results. So if you're suffering from a lack of interest in sex, ED, or lack of sexual stamina, Dr. Lugo and his staff can help. Take your health care to the next level at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, 844-977-3477 or BAMMC.com.
Let's go. Right now, back to the show with JP on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, presented by the law offices of Christopher Palermo. We're also presented by the Gold and Diamond Source. If you got a gift card for your Valentine's gift, because which is always a great idea, because we as men have no idea what to get you ladies. It's probably best just to give you a great gift card. And, of course, they have great matches over there that you can get with your gift card. And now you can go shopping. So head on over there to the Gold and Diamond Source. And they also have a great after-holiday sale as well. Never a bad time to visit the Gold and Diamond Source, because they have the best selection, because they are a local business, and it's like 5 different jewelry shops in one. You can get great watches. You can get great engagement rings, earrings. I mean, anything in the jewelry world, it's all there. It's like a toy store for jewelry there, and great prices as well, fitting any budget from the lowest to the highest. It's just fun to go in there. It's a very much a family atmosphere. And of course, it's a local business. We always say, keep that money local. I mean, if you're going to buy a diamond online, you got to be out of your mind, because you have no idea what you're getting. You have no idea who the people are that you're getting them from, even though their website looks good. You should never, ever, ever buy a diamond online. That's just bananas. And even going into local shops here, you don't know what if they're honest dealers, if not honest dealers, you don't know what you're buying. So make sure you go with the reputable dealer like the Gold and Diamond Source. Those are the folks that have been in business for decades here, and of course highly involved in the community. So it's the Gold and Diamond Source. Why would you go anywhere else? It's a quick ride from South Tampa, about 10-15 minutes over the Howard Franklin Bridge, right there on Ulmerton Road, 3800 Ulmerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com. All right, these Olympics are a complete disaster. I mean, let's just be honest. It's a complete disaster on so many levels. The American hockey team last night fell to Slovakia, and what 0 for 6 in the shootout, I think it was.
It was 0 for 5 in the shootout, and the only guy on that team one of the only guys on that team, I don't know if you're familiar with him. His name's Matty Beniers. He's a 2nd overall pick in last year's draft.
Yeah,
I watched a little bit of the game.
Mm-hmm.
The only player on that team that had some juice on him. And he didn't get an attempt in the shootout. And after the game, the coach said it's because it was predetermined already.
What, they have to submit a list that they can't deviate from? No, I was joking.
Yeah, I know.
It's what a stupid ass comment.
That's how it went, though.
Yeah, and Canada's out as well.
Yeah, Canada just bowed out here 2-0 to the Swedes. So
I mean, when I'm watching the Winter Olympics, it's almost 75% about the hockey.
Yeah.
So that's taken down to 0 for me. And then, folks, you're not hearing a lot of the athletes, obviously, dissent about what's going on over there. There have been a couple of things here and there. One athlete, I think, posted a picture of the horrible food that they're getting, and, of course, was swiftly dealt with. There have been some reporters that have spoken negatively about the conditions for the athletes, and they've been swiftly escorted out. I mean, this is a communist Olympics, and it is nothing but a propaganda play for Xi and the communist regime. The athletes can't go anywhere. They can't do anything. They're confined to their rooms and their athletic places that they're playing in. And now you have a doping scandal in figure skating, women's figure skating, which of course is the biggest event around. And you have this 15-year-old from Russia, or the Russian Olympic Committee. What the hell are they calling them? The ROC.
The ROC, yeah.
Yeah. And I feel sorry for her because she's just a 15-year-old pawn of the Russians. And she tested positive for a performance-enhancing drug. Actually, is taking 2 other drugs that at higher levels are banned substances. So here you have the Russian Olympic Committee like drugging up a 15-year-old figure skater. I mean, to me, the Olympics used to be about great ideals. We've boycotted Olympics for much less than what's going on in China right now. And it's like the IOC, just all they give a crap about is taking money from whoever wants to give them money for their Olympics. And that's why they haven't come back to the United States in 20 years. Because the last time they were here, you know what happened? This was back when we had actual media and real journalism. Maybe that's why they got pissed. And we exposed the bribe scandal that got the Salt Lake Olympics, and maybe they're punishing they're not coming back until LA in 2028, and they're going to these places like China now twice in 12 years. They've done the Olympics there because why? Because they get paid the most money, they get the most kickbacks. These IOC members, and they don't give a crap about the athletes, what they have to endure. The athletes can't even speak out or say. We have our own Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, telling our own athletes, do not speak out and say anything negative because the Chinese are ruthless. Well, if that's the way you felt, why the hell did you send your Olympic team there? It's a joke. It's an absolute joke. You look at the facilities. I mean, they're doing the freaking jumping thing right next to a nuclear reactor or whatever the hell that power plant is. I mean, it's ugly. There's controversy on every level. It's just terrible. It's terrible, and it's such an absolute departure from what the Olympic ideals used to be all about. It used to be about the athletes. It used to, be about clean competition, and now all we can see and feel are all these. It's such a dirty Olympics. That's what it's. You look at the pictures. It's brown. There's hardly any snow anywhere. They get one dump of snow. That was it. They have fake snow everywhere. That is so China. It's a fake snow. It's fake snow. We're having a Winter Olympics with fake snow. Just awful. And nobody's watching it. Absolutely nobody's watching the Winter Olympics, and I don't blame you. All right, we'll take a quick break. We'll get back on the clock here. We got Greg Auman coming up at 11:45 today. Bobby the Chief Taylor at 11:15. We'll talk some more Lightning with him. When we come back, a couple more stories in the NFL, more on Kyler Murray. There's a couple of things we want to get to as well in the baseball front. The Rays, we actually haven't talked much about the Rays at all. They would be going to spring training like right now, like today, but they're not. So we'll get a little bit into the Rays. Not so much stadium, but what's going on with their roster. Stay with us. Homeowners, listen up. Property values have risen in the Tampa Bay area to record levels, some up to 24% in 1 year. It's time to refinance your home and pull out the equity before rates go through the roof. Call my man Scott Fitzgerald at 813-294-7595 or email him at scott@amstampa.com. Scott believes interest rates will be over 5 very soon due to the volatile economy and inflation, but you can still lock in the mid-3s, but not for long. This means you can save tens of thousands of dollars over the life of your loan. Now, Scott is an independent broker, so he can shop your mortgage around for the best rates, and he will pay for your appraisal if you mention you heard it here on the JP Show. That's a $500 to $700 value. Scott does not charge the huge upfront fees like the big banks do. In this uncertain economy and political climate, better to have cash in hand now. So call Scott at 813-294-7595 or email him at scott@amstampa.com. Hey, folks, let me tell you about Bay Area Modern Medical Center, a very different kind of approach to primary care. Personalized preventative medicine, not a one-pill-fits-all mentality. Christopher Lugo and his experienced medical staff are proactive in looking at issues before they become a problem, encouraging a healthy lifestyle with proper diet, supplements, and exercise to optimize your active lifestyle. Rather than the impersonal, rushed approach, you will be the only patient and will have our full attention. That's new. Getting old is inevitable, but feeling and looking old is avoidable. Bay Area Modern Medical Centers are experts in anti-aging regenerative medicine that optimizes your body's performance in many areas. So call for an appointment to get started on a journey back to full health and a happy life with a new, modern way of healthcare. Call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. That's 844-977-3477 or BAMMC.com. JP here for my friend, attorney Christopher Palermo. If you are having issues with a claim on your homeowner's insurance from a sinkhole, storm damage, water intrusion, defective stucco, and construction defects, or any other issue, Christopher is your man. These big insurance companies didn't get rich paying out what you deserve. Chris founded his practice in 2009 with a passion to help all Floridians with disputes where they were forced to take on the powerful and needed a champion in their corner. Chris wants to make sure you will receive the most aggressive and compassionate representations. He has recovered millions in settlements on behalf of his clients facing defective stucco damage and other construction issues. So call Chris, mention the JP Show, and he will give you a free consultation. That's 813-221-5636 or go to PalermoPA.com. He's a fifth-generation Tampanian, graduate of Jesuit High School and the University of Florida, and he cares deeply about you and the community. That's 221-5636 or PalermoPA.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's rock. This is FanStream Sports with JP.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, presented by the law offices of Christopher Palermo. Our second hour is brought to you by Bay Area Modern Medical Center, a better way to get your medical issues handled, because they're not just sitting there waiting for you to get sick and then fill out a prescription and say, no, very different kind of primary care physicians, personalized preventative medicine. Proactive at looking at the issues before they become a problem. Imagine that. They'll work on proper diet, supplements, and exercise to optimize your active lifestyle. And if you have issues with hormone replacement, if you have low testosterone guys, this is one of the things they really, really focus in on. And it's not a frivolous treatment like some of these clinics treat as. It's a professional, targeted approach that focuses on your total body wellness, vitality, and emotional stability. That's something that a lot of these places don't really work on, to make sure that your prescriptions are right and you're doing it the right and safe way. So contact them, Christopher Lugo and his great team over there at Bay Area Modern Medical Center. It's BAMMC.com. That's BAMMC.com. All right, so the Rays were supposed to be at spring training today. The lockout continues. I mean, we're not going to get into the minutia of the different things, but just in listening to Manfred and some of the posturing, I can't believe that they're going to miss regular season games. I would expect these guys to probably be in camp no later than I'd probably say first week of March would be my guess. They'll figure this stuff out.
Damn, you're pretty optimistic, aren't you?
It gives them 3 weeks to get ready. I don't think they want to rush into it.
They just seem so far apart, though, on like money. And I'm like, I understand at some point somebody's got to budge. I get it, but from what I'm reading from all this, doesn't seem like there's any compromise coming from the MLB side of point of view, rather.
Well, I mean, that's short-sighted. I mean, a very short-sighted, because I think the owners, as strong as this baseball union is, their compensation structure for younger players is ridiculous. And I think what the Players Associations are starting to realize is that I think players, for whatever reason, in the last 5 to 10 years, they're reaching the major leagues quicker and they're ready to play. I mean, I think it obviously has to do with international training has improved tremendously, and so many of these players are coming from overseas. And I think even domestically, guys are getting ready sooner. The competition is ramped up. So, we talked to Kyle Tucker the other day. He's 24 years old. He's hitting 30 bombs. He came into the league ready to play. And if he was on the open market, he'd be getting paid $25 million. But instead, he's on a first year or a second year contract, second or third year contract, where he's making the minimum, the minor league minimum or major league minimum, which is like $650,000. There's got to be something in between. for first, second, and they're working on this thing. It's basically a bonus pool. So if you're in that first, second, third year minimum and you hit 30 bombs, there's going to be a pool of money based on your performance where you get a bonus. So he would get a $3, $4, $5 million bonus. That seems fair.
Oh yeah, it does.
Yeah,
it does. I mean, and you're already seeing all these guys. I mean, go down the list: Soto, Tatis, Wander Franco for half a season,
right?
And now they're already being given. They get $200 million+ deals.
Yeah, but those and let's be fair about these deals. I mean, they don't make any money in those first few years, hardly any, comparatively speaking. It's all backloaded. So they're getting new contracts and the money is guaranteed. They still aren't making that much money, as much money as they should early on. And this is going to affect the Rays in terms of competitive balance. And I don't even know how that pool is going to work. Does that money come from the team? Does that come from Major League Baseball? Like, how does that work? So I think there's a lot to figure out here, but I think most of these rule changes are going to really target what the Rays have been doing to stay competitive on a low payroll. So those days may be coming to an end. So everybody thinks the Rays will be great forever because they have the smartest front office. No, it's not the case. It hasn't been the case.
No, that'll probably come to an end, but it's a mess right now. There's nothing but bad pub right now going on with the MLB. Insert the thing I told you about yesterday with Matt Harvey and cocaine. And
yeah, that's bad.
That's bad.
I haven't followed that story as much, but CJ Cron obviously played here for a year, right?
Yeah.
Played a year. He's involved in that where they're talking about basically somebody on the PR staff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Was handing out oxycodone and cocaine.
Funneling him all these drugs. And it was like a big circus. And every time they would go into each other's cities, they would get the drugs and everything. And Matt Harvey admitted that he was a big cocaine partier, I guess, for most of his entire career. And manager Terry Collins, when he was at the Mets, said yesterday, I wasn't shocked to hear that. We kind of suspected that something was going on. So, I me's it's a sad situation, really, but not good pub for MLB.
Yeah, and so much of this I know it's like, oh, that's bad for baseball. It's a minority of players that are doing it, and to me, it's not a baseball thing. This is about individual responsibility and individual behavior. And frankly, if guys, let's just be honest, guys are doing drugs and recreational drugs, and it's happening everywhere. I mean, for those people that were shocked that Snoop Dogg smoked a blunt before he went on to stage. I mean, my God, what
biggest fake outrage I've seen.
Oh my God, what rock are you living under, for God's sakes? If you'd have taken a shot of tequila, would that have been better for you? I mean, what's the difference? Except the tequila is much worse.
One could actually kill you,
Yeah. But anyway, these type of stories don't outrage me. Like, I don't think they're endemic to baseball or any sport at all. These are just individual guys that choose to do whatever they want to do, and it's their life. I don't want to feign outrage over this.
It's just sad. They're sad stories to me, I think.
And in what way?
I understand everybody has to make personal responsibilities, but I mean, for somebody like Matt Harvey to be in all that fame in New York and we're all cheering him on, and you never know what fame drives you to do or for that a part.
Who cares? It's his life.
I understand it.
I don't like it in terms of, you got kids that idolize them and they're like, oh, wow, Matt Harvey's a cokehead and he was pitching while he's doing blow.
Well, I think
maybe then it's not that bad to do. Maybe I should try it.
Well,
that's bad. I like that as a role model. But now he could use that experience to tell kids, look, I effed up. Don't do what I did.
I mean, Hamilton did the same thing.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. Stories like don't outrage me as much. And you could say, well, it's an employee that was supplying it. Okay. Well, everybody works somewhere, it just happens to be, I don't know. To me, these are stories about people that are making, bad personal choices. Eventually that's going to catch up with them and ruin their life. We know this. So to me, these could be more instructive stories than anything else. Anyway, but for the Rays, I mean, we haven't talked a lot about their roster construction because nothing's happening right now, but there'll be some choices that they have to make. And a lot of this is once these choices are probably already made. And once this lockout is done, you're going to have some rapid fire moves of a lot of different things that are going to happen to this Rays organization. There's talk of Austin Meadows being traded. I think that's highly possible. I think they've come to the conclusion, and rightly so, that he's a very high ceiling player,
but he's also highly erratic and inconsistent. And right now, he can't hit lefties. No, not consistently.
He can't even be in the lineup against lefties.
I know.
I mean,
and it's a liability. You can't. He may be an MVP candidate or used to be, but they found something in his swing, whatever it is, and he hasn't been able to adjust.
No, he's regressed. He's regressed. He was a 290, 300 hitter when he was first here, and now he's hitting 230. That's the bottom line right now, and a lot of strikeouts. And I understand that's the theme of the league right now: home runs and strikeouts. But I don't think the Rays want that. They tried that for 1 year. Remember, 3 years ago, and they had 1 year of it, and they said, "No, we're done with this. We're going to get guys who could put the bat on the ball. We're going to play Rays baseball." Right? That's what they do. And Austin Meadows. You look at the team, he's kind of the outlier with that. He does not do the things the Rays want their players to do. And I think they're looking at Josh Lowe like that he's the more complete player, has the bigger upside. And defensively, too, Austin Meadows, let's not forget, he's a liability defensively as well.
Yeah.
Josh Lowe's a really good outfielder. So if you put the outfield together of Kiermaier, Josh Lowe, and insert third guy in there, whatever, Rose Arena, whatever, it's a much better outfield defensively, which is what the Rays want to do.
Yeah, I would agree with all that.
I wouldn't be outraged by it.
And I think there's a lot of dumbass teams out there. You could trade him back to the Pirates and probably get 3 All-Stars in return.
You'll get a lot of players for him.
Yeah. So I think this is actually a tee it up deal for the Rays where they're going to come out. They've got somebody waiting in the wings they think can be good or better, as good or better. And right now they need some starting pitching. They need some more starting pitching. I mean, they've got a lot of good arms, but I think they need a little bit more experience in there. And Tyler Glasnow, what do you do with him? He wants to stay, but you think the Rays are going to pay him $6 million not to pitch this year? Ain't and especially given what they could get for him.
I wouldn't have a problem waiting for it.
Don't
get me
either.
wrong.
No, he's the top of the rotation guy.
We're just going off what the Rays have shown
let's just put it this way. Any other franchise in baseball would definitely pay this guy and sign him to a long-term deal.
Probably, yeah.
But not the Rays.
No.
And right now, I think you do. I think it is incumbent upon the Rays to see how he comes back. He and as much as I love Tyler Glasnow, he did not pitch well in the postseason. And if he can't control his curveball, if he can't throw it for a strike, he's not an elite pitcher.
You got to have a third pitch.
You got to have a third pitch.
And it seemed like he was starting to put together like a changeup a little bit there. And that's what sucks. I mean, you got close to the All-Star break and he was a Cy Young contender.
Right.
And now it's like we're starting over again. And I think you have to think this guy's had multiple arm injuries now. He's not 23. He's not 24. He's going to be 28, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You can't be starting over every year, right?
Right.
With this guy.
So he's got immense potential. But again, what could you get for him and not pay him $6 million this year? A lot. There's teams out there that are going to give you a lot for Tyler Glasnow. So, and as much as I hate to see these guys go, these are situations where, the Rays have done a really good job of identifying good players, but they've got so many good young players now. Their 40-man roster is kind of a hard juggle right now. So it's not like they can just go out and get a bunch of great prospects, get 4 or 5 guys in return. They need to get some really good players that are major league ready now. And, if it's Glasnow, maybe you go out and see if you can find a really good Charlie Morton type starter out there.
Yeah.
An older guy who you can plug in and can be a real good, a good guy, good clubhouse guy, etc.
And it feels so long ago, they got the Corey Kluber, but I think we all would agree they need another guy to add to that.
Absolutely. All right, we'll take a quick break and we'll get Bobby the Chief Taylor coming on. We'll talk some hockey with him after the big win last night by the Lightning. Stay with us. The PGA Tour's Valspar Championship is back in March in 2022, March 14th through the 20th, right in the middle of the best weather of the year and the last stop on the Florida swing. The Valspar has become one of the must-do events on the Tampa Bay sports and social calendar, so get your best tickets before they sell out. The game's biggest stars love the Copperhead course in Innisbrook. Last year, we saw Dustin Johnson, Justin Thomas, Jordan Spieth. Wow, the crowds, and another star-studded field is expected again this year. Sam Burns took the title and will defend again at the Copperhead.
In Boca Grande, 941-964-0400. That's 941-964-0400.
Cryptocurrency is all the rage today. The market cap for the industry is now over $1 trillion. And you read about people making millions of dollars, right? You want to get in, but have no idea what to do? Or maybe you dabbled a bit and you want to unlock the real money-making opportunities and don't know how to do it. There are over 10,000 tokens and thousands of decentralized finance exchanges to navigate. So what do? You go to DeFiLava.com. The folks at DeFiLava.com are in Tampa Bay, and they work with you directly to set up custom accounts, answer all your questions, and provide market analysis. Decentralized finance and cryptocurrencies are here to stay and will change the financial markets as we know them. Get in the game. Get with the experts at DeFiLava.com and tell them JP sent you and get their free 2022 crypto market forecast today at DeFiLava.com. Don't get left behind, folks. Make some money at DeFiLava.com.
Pure sports. JP is back on.
Welcome back.
FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the law offices of Christopher Palermo. Our second hour brought to you by Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. Check them out. All right, let's chat with our good friend, Bobby the Chief Taylor. We haven't chatted with him in forever because the Lightning haven't played in forever. What's up, Chief? How are you?
Doing great, JP. And it's been too doggone cold to go play golf.
Come on. Hardy Canadian guy.
Hey, I'm a Floridian now. Anybody that's out there when it's below 50 is from the north.
By the way, I don't want to get into politics, but my God, what the hell's going on in your native country up there, my man? What are you?
They're so fouled up.
Wow,
it's incredible. You know, I mean, that's a socialist government for you.
Well, now it's a dictatorship. Yeah. But don't be fooled, folks. That's exactly the playbook that the folks in America are looking at too. So when we get our convoy going, our trucker convoy, you're going to see the same thing happen. So weird times we're living in. So let's just talk some hockey. That was an interesting game last night. I guess the Lightning now are just ceding the first period to the other team, and it's the best 2 of 3. I guess now they're playing. What's going on with this team? The slow starts.
I don't know. I mean, that's incredible. They had 4 shots on goal, 8 total towards the net. 8. and Jersey had 22. And then they score 5 goals in 24 and a half minutes at the end of the game.
Wow. Yeah.
I mean, this is a crazy, obviously, and you know, I was getting so frustrated with the way they were playing, and yet I keep telling everybody, and I keep saying it to myself, this team can score in bunches, and it's crazy how fast they can score. And think about it. The big line for them was as Maroon puts it, the school bus line. I call it the Golden Age Club with Perry, Belmar, and Maroon. And they got 6 points last night.
Yeah, this is it's interesting how Cooper switches the lines in the second period. And, you know, a lot of coaches are just not very hesitant to do that. Cooper's never been hesitant to do it. And it definitely worked. Things were getting a little stale, and I moved Stammer around, moved the guys around a little bit, and that seemed to spark something. Why do you think that happened?
Yeah, definitely. There's 2 things. What it does is that it changes the matchup for the other teams, for the coaches. You know, just one player, you can change it. You know, now you put Stamkos back with Point and Kucherov, and then all of a sudden they have to put their best checking line on that.
Mm-hmm.
So they have to make sure that they don't. They got to play defense instead of going after them. Then you just move guys around, you know, and also when you get a new guy on your line, you kind of wake up too, because you know it's almost like putting on your old slippers. You know, you got one foot in the slipper that's really nice. Now you got a brand new one you have to break in, so you kind of wake up a little bit. So for me, it's a great move. I mean, just you don't have to change. You know, he changed one guy on each line, and except for the Belmar line, and it worked. I mean, they jump started that team. They came on. You know, he said just the whole 40 minutes, but I thought, you know, the last maybe 9 minutes of the first period and then all the third, they really played well, and they matched the intensity and the urgency of Jersey, and that's something that they haven't done. They've kind of eased themselves into games over the last little while, and you know, you can't do it in this game. You know, they're fortunate that they have a great goalie, and they're fortunate that they have guys that can score, because if you do ease yourself into it, you can come back like we witnessed last night. But you don't want to have a steady diet of it. Look at what happened in Colorado.
Yeah,
great game, but they got behind 2-0 against a really good team, and they shut the door on you. And it was a good game, but you got behind too quickly, too early.
And how much of this, though, you think is just the schedule? I mean, being off 5 days, 6 days before you play these games, it's just different. And these players, their bodies are used to a rhythm, right? And it's a weird thing. Is that part of it?
Well, it could be. This team though has had a lot of hockey. Think about it.
Yeah.
And you know what? This is what we all forget, and I'm a biggest culprit of that. That they won 2 Stanley Cups in 382 days, or 48 days, something like that. It was almost like in a year. It was like they haven't had a let up, and it's not just the physical part of it, but it's the mental part too, because you're really on edge, and that's been a tremendous feat. Nobody really pays attention to that, how difficult a thing that is, and they came through with it. And I think like this next 5 days. They're going to be off the ice for 5 days, and it's going to be as much of a mental rest as it is a physical rest, which I think they definitely need, because they haven't had a whole lot of downtime in between seasons. And get a couple of good hard days of practice, come back again this week. It's strange. This whole COVID thing has really put a hamper on the NHL, because you got those idiots in Canada, and then you got how it's just so tough to really get any continuity and any sign of normalcy over the last couple of years.
Bobby the Chief Taylor joining us
and
here.
I see idiots in Canada. I'm a transplanted Canadian.
Yeah, you're allowed to say it. Absolutely. But you're absolutely right. Look around the league, and because it's about time to start, looking at who the players are going to be in this playoffs. And you look at Carolina and Florida, tremendous teams. Florida is just playing at such a high level. You kind of feel like the Lightning in Florida may be headed towards another amazing playoff series like we saw last year. And then you're looking out west. That game against we've had a couple of incredible games against Vegas. Look at Colorado. We've seen these teams lately. So look into your chief crystal ball here. What do you see the playoffs looking like right now?
I'll tell you, there's 2 other teams that are like Pittsburgh right now. They got Malkin back.
That's right.
And that Tristan Jarry in goal is playing extremely well for him. They're going to be a team to reckon with as well. And then Calgary just really helped themselves and get that Tolofi from Montreal.
Yep.
That just really gave them some depth. That's been the biggest thing for the Lightning over the last 2 years, is our depth. And Calgary now has it. And Calgary's kind of kicking butt and taking names right now.
Yeah.
And and Markstrom's playing great in goal for them. So I think those are 2 teams that could really be flying the ointment. But I don't understand. What's really tough is you got 2 of the better teams in the league, in the Florida and the Lightning, and one of them is going to be gone in the first round.
Yeah.
That somehow is weird.
Yeah.
I would like to see a total
shuffling
vamp of the schedule, in the sense that where you got your best teams, and so far, the 3 of the best teams in the league are here in the East, with Carolina, Florida, and the Lightning.
Yeah.
And yet they could be before we can get a shot at playing them for the Stanley Cup.
Yeah, they're. How do you think the Lightning match up with those 2 teams right now? And we've seen them a little bit this year, but Florida just, they've been.
You know what? I think that against Florida, Florida's got great depth. I don't think their goaltending plays very well against us. We got Bassey, who plays really well against them.
Yeah.
Carolina is a team that's going to be, in my mind, that gives us fits sometimes.
Yeah.
Because of they've got everything. They've got good depth. They've got good speed. They've got really good defense. Their goaltending has been really sharp. And then of course, and Toronto could be a factor as well. They're right up there as well. And they might have figured it out by now. Toronto always reminds me of the Lightning before they got swept by Columbus that year.
Yeah.
And then they figured out, well, we got to do something different to win. So I think Toronto's starting to figure out now that you can't just outscore teams. You have to outplay them like we did.
Yeah, but Chief, you know what's wrong with Toronto? They think the season ends in April. They don't know how to play after that.
I know.
They're so used to going home early. They don't know what to do, bro. So
yeah.
I don't think we have to worry about them.
I hear you.
But
the thing that really, the two teams, like I mentioned earlier, though, JP, but I think are going to be really important, really different is going to be Calgary in the West and Pittsburgh here in the East.
Yeah, good stuff. Bobby the Chief Taylor joining us here. Do you think, I know the Bolts don't have a whole lot of cap room, but do you think they're eyeing anything at the trade deadline? Maybe some depth on defense. What do you think that they're looking for anything?
Well, you know what? It's going to be hard. I think once Bogosian gets healthy, well, that gives them a pretty decent 6 players there. You know, they're big bodies, and you know, Bogosian plays a heavy game like Chernak does. So that might be a big difference. And you can always use a defenseman, in my mind. I think that's where the Lightning could really help themselves. But with that cap situation right now, it's just really hard. I really think that getting Bogosian back, you know, from this year has really helped them, and he kind of just settles everything down. Like he makes that third pair or second pair, wherever you want to. Probably the third pair is almost as good as the second pair. So I like that move before, but if he gets healthy, that could be the addition that they're looking for.
Bobby the Chief Taylor here. Well, Chief, I'm shocked we even got you today because it's so beautiful outside. You'd be playing golf, but you tell me you can't play if it's under 70 degrees.
Well, I was thinking about it, but I think I'm going to the fair. I got talked into going to the fair.
Oh, okay. All right. Just a little heads up here. You know, some of those games, they look easy. You can't win them. It's rigged. Just
I know that. Yeah, but it's the food that you probably walk out of there going, hey.
Hey, and plus you get to go back to where it all began, right there at the fairgrounds, right? Yeah,
exactly.
You might see a couple defensemen still fishing out in that pond. You never know. All right,
exactly.
Chief. Always great to catch up with you, my friend. Hopefully, I'll see you at the rink sometime. I guess you got new duties now. I don't get to watch the game with you anymore. Sad.
Yeah, I know. I'm. You can't hear me yelling at the referees.
I know. I don't get my full, earful of profanity, and it just doesn't feel the same. It's just not the same watching the game. All right, Chief. We'll catch up later, partner. Thanks, buddy.
All right, JP. Take care.
Great, Bobby the Chief Taylor, right there. Yeah, the fans around us, though, or at least if the kids are there, it's a little easier for them. All right, quick break. We got Greg Auman coming up at 11:45. When we come back after a 2-3 minute break here, we'll hit some of the other stories around the sports world, the fun stuff. So stay with us. Quick break. Homeowners, listen up. Property values have risen in the Tampa Bay area to record levels, some up to 24% in 1 year. It's time to refinance your home and pull out the equity before rates go through the roof. Call my man Scott Fitzgerald at 813-294-7595 or email him at scott@amstampa.com. Scott believes interest rates will be over 5 very soon due to the volatile economy and inflation, but you can still lock in the mid-3s, but not for long. This means you can save tens of thousands of dollars over the life of your loan. Now, Scott is an independent broker, so he can shop your mortgage around for the best rates, and he will pay for your appraisal if you mention you heard it here on the JP Show. That's a $500 to $700 value. Scott does not charge the huge upfront fees like the big banks do. In this uncertain economy and political climate, better to have cash in hand now. So call Scott at 813-294-7595 or email him at scott@amstampa.com. Getting old is inevitable, but feeling and looking old is avoidable. If you're feeling run down, your workout sucks, or your sexual libido is not what it used to be, check out Bay Area Modern Medical Center. That happened to me a few years ago, and I found out I had the testosterone level of a second-grade girl. That's not good. Our food, environment, and stress can cause your T levels to drop. Bay Area Modern Medical Center can help, and they are different. They offer customized hormone replacement for both men and women. Christopher Lugo and his medical staff can help you restore your energy, your sex drive, and your feelings of well-being. It was a total game changer for me. I have way more energy, lost 30 pounds, and I'm performing better in all areas of my life. Nobody wants to talk about sexual health, but it's key to a balanced life. We offer discreet treatments with real-world results. So if you're suffering from a lack of interest in sex, ED, or lack of sexual stamina, Dr. Lugo and his staff can help. Take your health care to the next level at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, 844-977-3477 or BAMMC.com. The PGA Tour's Valspar Championship is back in March in 2022, March 14th through the 20th, right in the middle of the best weather of the year and the last stop on the Florida swing. The Valspar has become one of the must-do events on the Tampa Bay sports and social calendar, so get your best tickets before they sell out. The game's biggest stars love the Copperhead course in Innisbrook. Last year, we saw Dustin Johnson, Justin Thomas, Jordan Spieth. Wow, the crowds, and another star-studded field is expected again this year. Sam Burns took the title and will defend again at the Copperhead. This will be a full tournament with the return of Valspar Live, our free Saturday concert featuring Chris Young and Big and Rich, and other amenities including Chameleon Cove, the Hooters Owl's Nest, the Publix Chill Lounge, and other hospitality venues. Go to ValsparChampionship.com for tickets. The best premium hospitality areas will sell out, so don't wait. That's ValsparChampionship.com.
Pure sports. JP is back on.
Welcome back.
FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the law offices of Christopher Palermo. Check him out at PalermoPA.com. Our second hour is brought to you by Bay Area Modern Medical Center. They are experts at testosterone replacement, guys. So if you've been with another company or have been thinking about getting testosterone replacement, I've been doing it for years and years. It is a game changer, ain't no doubt about that. And they do it the right way. Excuse me. Where they take your blood work and make sure that your levels are where they need to be on a consistent basis. Also make sure that your emotional stability is there as well, because hormone replacement affects your emotions. So a lot of people don't talk about that. A lot of these clinics don't really care about that. They want to just make sure you get big and ripped. That's not what it's about. It's about making it optimal for your body and making it safe. So if you're into testosterone replacement or thinking about it, BAMMC.com is where to go. Please tell them JP sent you. Before we get to Greg Auman, I wanted to something I wanted to touch on yesterday. Jason Whitlock wrote a column on the Super Bowl. And if you watch the pregame show and if you watch the whole event, I think he kind of nailed it. The title is The NFL's Diversity, Inclusion, and Equity Super Bowl will be remembered as the Roger Goodell bridge to chaos and racial division. And a lot of this, and you see it all across sports, there is a lot of political agenda that certain entities are using these sports for to promote racial division, to promote equity, to promote a lot of things. Now, in general, a lot of these, they seem well-intentioned, but you have to really dig down a little bit and ask yourself, is it really for the best? And I'll bring up the Rooney Rule, which is something that most black coaches hate. They hate the fact that they have to be a lot of these teams have to be forced to include them in interviews, and a lot of these are sham interviews. They would rather they just be getting these interviews on merit. And that's where I think Whitlock really kind of hits, I think, the right spot here, is talking about a meritocracy. Sports has always been a meritocracy. And this is not to say that the NFL is woefully inadequate at hiring black head coaches. They are. We've talked about this. And and I'm frankly tired of hearing Roger Goodell talk about how bad we are. I mean, that press conference was a joke. He's getting ripped right and left. He's like, yeah, we got to do better, man. We got to do better. We really have to do better. We had to do better. We got to do better. We got to be better. We got to do better. We got to be better. We got to be better. Yeah, that doesn't change anything. It doesn't change anything. Whatever he's doing or these owners are doing, they're talking about it, but they're not doing anything. And that's a lot of what Whitlock is saying. This is virtue signaling. So much of it is virtue signaling.
And while the NFL wants to throw out, Mickey Guyton as their, a black country singer who's, as he wrote, claim to fame was a George Floyd song. Nobody knows who Mickey Guyton is. She did a great job, but she was announced as the singer, I'm like, well, who is she? I don't even know who she is. And when have you ever said that about an anthem singer? I mean, was that based on merit? Oh, of course it wasn't. I mean, she did a fantastic job. I have nothing against her. The Black National Anthem was also done out in the parking lot, as he put it. And are these things done because they're trying to a lot of, even I saw Kyle Jackson, I'm friends with him on Facebook, and he was talking about the hiring practice in NFL. And a lot of them were saying, well, hey, at least we got the halftime show of all the rappers. And it's almost like what, a lot of white liberals do is they throw they throw the black community bones thinking that's what they want, when in actuality, they're not doing anything about the real big issues. And they're it's basically, they're fooling you. They'll give you the big shiny thing, but the real things that matter, they're not doing anything about. And it's almost like just, throwing a dog a bone, just keep them happy for a little bit. And we all have to be better about that. We just have to be better about that. And I want to read some of his column here about the pregame show. He said Biden got the ball rolling with his interview. Goodell and NBC took it from there. Approximately 30 minutes before kickoff, singers Mary Mary performed the so-called Black National Anthem in the parking lot of SoFi Stadium. Minutes later, tennis legend and LGBT icon Billie Jean King entered the on-field festivities. Narrates a video about Title IX and inclusion. She then did the pregame coin toss. Before Sunday, I was unaware of any connection between King and football. Neither was I. Did that seem completely out of left field? It did. It did for me. And by the way, in Title IX, which they talked about, is being totally destroyed by many of the groups that the NFL is aligned with this transgender inclusion. I just saw a picture of Leah Thomas, by the way, in her female swimsuit, and her shoulder is bigger than Michael Phelps. I mean, it's ridiculous. And that is destroying women's sports for the quote goal of inclusion. Think about that. Greeting King for the coin toss was lead referee Ron Torbert, the third black referee to oversee a Super Bowl. After the coin toss, a mixed race singer, Jean Aiko, performed America the Beautiful. Aiko was followed by black female country singer Mickey Guyton, whose claim to fame is a George Floyd-inspired song. Aiko and Guyton are not household names. No one is going to compare them to Whitney Houston. They were then introduced to NBC's two female sideline reporters, Michelle Tafoya and Catherine Tappan. By far, by my estimation, Tafoya is the only person I feel confident was there based on merit. Everything else feels like an agenda. Interesting. The Pepsi halftime show put the exclamation point on the diversity, inclusion, and equity agenda. Now, let me be clear. I enjoyed the halftime show, grew up listening to Snoop, Dr. Dre, Eminem, 50 Cent, Mary J. Blige. But gangsta rappers are not appropriate for Super Bowl halftime. Gangsta rap is lyrical pornography. It's to be ingested at the privacy of your headphones. Dr. Dre is Hugh Hefner. Snoop is Johnny the Wad Holmes. Eminem is Ron the Hedgehog Jeremy. 50 Cent, is 250 Cent now. I get that rap music is the best-selling popular form of music. It's dumbed down. If you can talk, you can perform it. Popularity does not signify greatness. In this era, it signifies perversion. Porn is the most popular form of movie making. Nothing is downloaded more on the internet. That doesn't mean pornography should be placed on our largest platforms. Dre and Snoop hosted a gangster party, a celebration of gang culture on a Super Bowl stage. It was billed as the mainstreaming of black culture. Do white people claim Hefner, Holmes, and Jeremy as beacons of white culture? Of course not. Do you understand the significance here? And I think Whitlock is spot on here. And there's, as much as I love Snoop and Dre and all these people, a lot of the lyrics in those songs are about what? F the cops, F the police. I mean, is that the, and I understand the culture of it. I get it. No, I sing the lyrics myself, right? Whatever. But if you're the NFL, you're basically promoting those ideals. Is that really where you want to be as
as an NFL league, being used as a pawn for the politics of the left. And that's exactly, and you look at the NBA and the NFL supporting BLM. Do you see what's going on with BLM right now? The organization, $60 million in the bank, raised $90 million. They've done nothing with it except buy real estate. They've done nothing positive for the black community with it at all. All this money that they've raised, it hasn't gone to literacy projects or helping inter-school education, none of it. And their stated goals are all Marxist goals. Their leaders were Marxist leaders, and these leagues supported them because of the outward appearance. And it's not what sports should be about. It's just not. All right, quick break. When we come back, Greg Auman will join us. We'll talk about what the Bucs options are at quarterback, what's happening with that, and also a great column he had on Pro Bowl Confidential. Pro Bowl players confidentially naming who their best players are, who they think is the best, most underrated players. Interesting stuff when we come back. Homeowners, listen up. Property values have risen in the Tampa Bay area to record levels, some up to 24% in 1 year. It's time to refinance your home and pull out the equity before rates go through the roof. Call my man Scott Fitzgerald at 813-294-7595 or email him at scott@amstampa.com. Scott believes interest rates will be over 5 very soon due to the volatile economy. Scott@amstampa.com. Getting old is inevitable, but feeling and looking old is avoidable. If you're feeling run down, your workout sucks, or your sexual libido is not what it used to be, check out Bay Area Modern Medical Center. That happened to me a few years ago, and I found out I had the testosterone level of a second-grade girl. That's not good. Our food, environment, and stress can cause your T levels to drop. Bay Area Modern Medical Center can help, and they are different. They offer customized hormone replacement for both men and women. Christopher Lugo and his medical staff can help you restore your energy, your sex drive, and your feelings of well-being. It was a total game changer for me. I have way more energy, lost 30 pounds, and I'm performing better in all areas of my life. Nobody wants to talk about sexual health, but it's key to a balanced life. We offer discreet treatments with real-world results. So if you're suffering from a lack of interest in sex, ED, or lack of sexual stamina, Dr. Lugo and his staff can help. Take your health care to the next level at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, 844-977-3477 or BAMMC.com.
Pure sports. JP is back on. Fan Stream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show. I've been really looking forward to chatting with Greg Auman from The Athletic, covers the Buccaneers about so many topics. He joins us now. Greg, how are you?
How you doing well, JP? Thanks for having me on.
Should be another interesting offseason, no doubt about it, for the Bucs as they try to figure out their quarterback situation. All right, first question. Do you think Tom Brady is retired, or will he play again this year, and for whom might he play?
I think he's retired, but nobody knows. I mean, it's one of those where it's like it's search engine crazy not to talk about it. Right. So everybody and their brother, again, has him going to San Francisco, mainly because he's from San Mateo, even though the Niners gave up 3 draft picks to get a quarterback they've barely touched in a year.
Right.
Not all the options make a ton of sense. And again, I think if Tom doesn't necessarily know where he's going to be in 3-4 months, it's silly for us to claim we know. I would say that there are a lot of things that are possible. I don't know that I expect him to play this fall, but he's surprised us before.
Yes, indeed. And to that end, I was out at Super Bowl, and a lot of people talk off the record about this. We've been talking about the speculation about this so-called rift between Brady and the organization, maybe Arians. I mean, David talked about turmoil. Seth Wickersham has talked about it was much harder in the building than it should have been, or people know. I know you are the king of only reporting what's reportable, but and I am not. So where do you have you heard anything? Do you want to speak on it at all? What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, no, I mean, I don't think either side's saying too much right now. And I think, these people that are citing things are probably citing people around Brady at best. Yeah, I mean, I get the sense that there might be some frustration. I mean, they won a Super Bowl the first time around and they didn't the second time around. So there's going to be frustration. And maybe, it's funny. Everybody's talking about how, like, he didn't like the looser locker room, but he won a championship with very much that same
good point
atmosphere and vibe all around it. So I mean, again, if that same thing yields same success, you could say, oh, that's why, or that's part of it. But I don't know that seems like something that would be an overriding thing for Brady. I think he spent a lot of this year talking about family and talking about the decision to walk away from something and how much time he put into that. And we'll see. It could be that that's what it is, and he's a dad moving forward. Or it could be that there were other things in play, and he wants to go somewhere else, and that will unfold here in the next, 5 months, I guess. Maybe longer than that. I mean, it's like, you see these guys come back after a year off.
Right.
I really would be surprised if he has a year off and comes back, but we'll see. I don't think either side is going to say very much to really put things out there, but there'll be a lot of talk about it one way or the other until the Bucs have another quarterback or really come out and say they're sticking with the guys they have.
Yes, it is great for sports radio, no doubt. All right, so let's go to let's go to the options of who might be here. And I'm, when I talked about Brady coming here, I looked around the league, looked at the different situations, and I really was confident that Tampa Bay was the best fit. I feel almost as confident with Russell Wilson. But I'm not as confident that he's leaving Seattle as I was Brady leaving New England. I think that was pretty much done there for him. And I really think the Bucs could give up a lot to get him and still have a very competitive team. What's your feel for that situation with Russell Wilson?
I think Russ is 5 years younger than Aaron Rodgers. Right. So I think that helps. I think there's an aspect of, I think they just had a 2-year stint with a quarterback. I would obviously, if you get Aaron Rodgers for 1 year, it can be a fun 1 year or a fun 2 years. But I feel like with Russell Wilson, there's a little bit more of the idea that you could have a longer stay. You could have him here for 4 or 5 years or something. So I can't tell, first of all, whether the Bucs are just trying to sustain success to in the window they're in right now, or are they thinking, they want to find the next guy long term? Because obviously, acquiring a 38-year-old Aaron Rodgers and acquiring a 26-year-old Deshaun Watson are two very different things long term. Yeah. And we don't know where they stand on that. We don't know where Trask is compared to all these other options for them, But Russell Wilson is somebody who, again, would be expensive. I don't know that Seattle will let him go. I still feel like, again, we said this about the Patriots and Brady 2 years ago, but I feel like it's still likely he plays for Seattle this season. If he leaves, that really, really recasts them as a franchise.
Yes. And
I don't know that you want to do that with a 70-year-old head coach. So unless he's also planning to move on, I don't know that Pete Carroll wants to kind of do what we're talking about Arians doing with Kyle Trask and resetting with a rookie and lower expectations at the end of your career. But if they are willing to part with him and part with him within the conference, yes, absolutely. He would be a Brady. There's no Brady level quarterback, but a really high level proven winner, postseason winner, all those things that you had when Brady came here.
I think it's interesting for Seattle. I mean, if they're honest with themselves, they need a massive rebuild. And the only way to do that when they don't even have a first-round pick this year is get picks and players. And they're also for sale. So maybe a new ownership group would say, okay, this is time to rebuild right away. They get picks, but then they can get rid of KJ Wright. They could, bring Devin White in with the trade. There's a lot of things there. The key for me is he's got a trade clause. So obviously, and you brought this up, the Eagles, a lot of other franchises could give him a lot better draft picks, but he still has to agree to go there. And I think Tampa Bay is probably got to be at the top of his list as far as where to go, especially as Brady's kind of shown the template. So you think that works in somewhat in the Bucs' favor there?
Yeah, I don't know how much power he controls in that. And the Bucs, the Bucs don't have a lot of big pieces to fashion a massive trade package around. You know, you're starting with the number 27 overall pick. If Russell Wilson is your quarterback, you're not going to be picking much higher than that a year from now or 2 years from now.
Exactly.
So you're trading a lot of low first-round draft picks. So I just feel like there's going to be teams that can offer a top 10 pick this year that can offer you probably a second or third top 20 pick. I kind of use the parallel that the Bucs are offering up the coins in their pocket, and there's other people that have bills that they can give.
Yeah.
And I just think it adds up a lot more quickly when you're trying to. This is when we're talking about Wilson and Rodgers and Watson and these big multiple number ones. I think sometimes people think that number ones are all valued equally.
They're not.
And the Bucs don't have high first round draft picks. They don't have. If you get this pick, you can get a potential successor to Russell Wilson with that pick. You can't do that.
Right.
You know, and I mean, 27th overall, you're going to get an impact player. You're going to get a starter. You're not going to get somebody that's going to be the face of your franchise moving forward. So I do think the Bucs would either have to include some young players if they wanted to get a package like that to be able to keep up with Philadelphia, or who knows what other teams would be packaging, you know, better, higher, sooner draft picks than what the Bucs could offer.
No question. Greg Auman joining us here from The Athletic. Deshaun Watson is an interesting situation. And I brought this up the other day. You know, obviously, you know, the Bucs are a very progressive organization. They're hiring a full-time female staff on the coaching staff throughout their organization. A lot of female, very prominent roles, none bigger than Darcy Glazer-Kasowitz. And the trading for Deshaun Watson with his issues seems unlikely in the face of that. Do you think that has anything to do with looking at Deshaun Watson, or maybe this is a smokescreen for leverage on another pick? How do you think that whole thing works in getting Deshaun Watson here? Is that even an option for the Bucs?
Yeah, I mean, I think the single biggest hurdle with Watson is your franchise, and this is above the coach and GM level. Is your franchise on board for that?
Right, exactly.
And obviously, you know, the Bucs have dealt with something like that in terms of investing heavily in somebody who has serious accusations, but not necessarily criminal charges against them, and did that with Winston, and to a lesser extent did that with Antonio Brown coming in. He had allegations against him. So I think there's definitely a precedent for them kind of being willing to look the other way or to believe in the better parts of people despite allegations against them. And they do that, like you said, while being a very actively progressive organization in how they have women in their staff is a huge part of who they are. So there's a duality there that's tough to process for some people, but it's how they've done things in the past. And I think the fact that they're being floated here and not kind of actively shooting it down would suggest they're at least kind of doing their due diligence to check this out and see, you know, it's not just whether he's likely to do something else. It's how much of what he's accused of he's actually done, what the penalty will be in terms of suspension. There's so many layers to, you know, you don't want to make a big trade because the Texans at least can say, well, we didn't know about any of this when we drafted him, you know, and they went to the playoffs with him before all this happened. This next team that gets him is going to be well aware of who he is. And if you do that and something else happens, it's a really bad look.
No question.
So that'll be, I'm sure, a risk that some NFL team will take here in the next couple of months. I don't know if it's the Bucs or not.
Greg Auman joining us here. Hey, the Pro Bowl Confidential column that you did was wildly informational. I loved it. What were your takeaways from that? I mean, such good stuff. A little bit of how you gathered it and what kind of struck you.
Yeah, it was cool. I had done the same thing in Orlando 2 years ago when the Pro Bowl was last there, where you're just trying to talk to as many Pro Bowl players as you can. It's pretty simple, 2-3 minute survey. We try and hit them with fairly light stuff, not a whole lot of real heavy hitting questions we're asking, but just, you know, most underrated, who the MVP is, what coach could you play for if you weren't with your current coach, all those kind of questions. And again, logistically a hard thing to do because there's very limited, the access in Vegas was not ideal.
Right.
Worked with a lot of teams and agents to get guys on the phone. And was happy to get what I got. I probably worked harder to get 20 guys this year than I did to do 32 guys 2 years ago. But no, lots of cool stuff there. The underrated stuff is always neat. It's like we ask them not to name a teammate because otherwise they're kind of just shouting out their best friend on the team every time you ask them. But thought it was really neat. I mean, there's names that came up there. I looked at who they named 2 years ago. And I mean, Devontae Adams was by no means a sleeper 2 years ago. But I mean, when we did that Pro Bowl Confidential, he was coming off of a 5 touchdown season. got mentioned in ours and had 18 touchdowns the next year. So definitely saw that there. Trey Hendrickson was a guy that was mentioned there. Hubbard, that just had a good year for the Bengals, was in there. So there's lots of cool names that come up just when you give them the chance to name anybody, any position on offense, on defense. And really like that, the favorite city, the worst city, those are always kind of the same. The northern cold cities kind of get drugged through the mud. Buffalo and Green Bay.
No Tampa Bay a lot on either list. That was interesting. No worst or better.
Tampa, it's funny. I'm always surprised by how, as much as we celebrate Tampa and being here and how awesome it is, doesn't really show up as much. Like, I think Los Angeles shows up more. I think the warm weather, maybe it's just because you're only here for a day or two. You're here. I think these players, for the most part, are confined. They come in, they go to their hotel. Especially this year with COVID restrictions, it's not like you're getting to the beach or getting to do a lot of things to see the city. Even in the old days, I think normally it's just like a nice dinner out if you did it right, that kind of thing. But no, that was neat. Mike Tomlin was definitely the coach that came up the most as far as coaches you want to play for. It's always interesting to see which coaches don't come up in that. It's like I'd asked them about. I'm curious, like how much they mind playing 17 games in terms of an extra game or playing on Thursday nights. And they didn't. I was kind of surprised they didn't seem to mind that as much as I think some people think they do.
Jonathan Taylor MVP over Rodgers and Brady.
Yeah, and I think that we kind of put the headline on that in the story that Jonathan Taylor got the MVP. And it was even more, I think at one point it was like 8-3 in the voting. And I think two of the last guys I talked to said Aaron Rodgers kind of make it closer. But it was not even, there's some questions like, oh man, that's a good question. You need 30 seconds to answer it. And that's one where guys are fairly firm in their answers. Like, oh, JT, right away. Oh, JT. And they would say that. And again, it's like I was probably 12 or 13 guys in before Brady got offered as a response.
Interesting.
I think he got 2. So he wasn't a real. They don't know who I am. They don't know where I'm from. So there's no kind of bias that comes with that. I'm just asking basically any Pro Bowl I can find in Vegas or on the phone, and kind of going from there. So it was really neat and fun to do. I don't know if I do it every year, but definitely like doing it every couple of years.
Definitely worth the read. Check that out at The Athletic. Get your subscription, and you can read all the Greg stuff. It's fantastic there. Joe Smith stuff on the Lightning. Very much worth it. Thanks, Greg. Appreciate your time as always. Have a good, quote, off season. And we'll talk to you when Brady unretires next week.
All right, man. Thanks again. See you.
Thanks, Greg Auman there. All right, we went a little over because we can. That's what we do. Appreciate our guests today. Great job by Bruce Gradkowski right off the top of the show. Bobby the Chief Taylor joined us as well. Talk Lightning, and of course the great Greg Auman. You can check it out on our app, on YouTube, on Twitter, on Facebook. You can see the show any day right there, and at our website, fanstreamsports.com. Have a great day, everybody. We'll talk to you tomorrow.